To be at the top of your game, to run a multi-billion-dollar corporation, there aren't that many Jack Ma's or Elon Musks out there.
He was more of a CEO than a drug lord.
He wanted to build an empire.
He thought big, he crossed boundaries.
He pieced together the region like a risk board. It's Breaking Bad on steroids is what it is.
Police department, search warrant! Open the door! Hit it. Move! Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
In 1997, we then took down the whole Canadian side of the case. We even charged the Sicilians. So there was only one person left, and that was Tichy Lap. And at that point, Tichy Lap was not in Canada. Tichy Lap was in China.
It's from southern China. He came across to Hong Kong, where he essentially worked the streets.
When I learned there was a meeting planned in Hong Kong by Alap with major league people in the heroin trade,
we know that once we get to Hong Kong, we're not going to call the shots. It's going to be up to the Hong Kong PD.
so it was 6 o'clock or a little bit later. Then Lap arrived and got identified by the surveillance. Then they advised us, he's in. We got him.
There was nothing about him that shouted out, international drug trafficker. He was polite and professional, courteous. He was just a regular guy. He wasn't big or strong or dressed fancy clothes or any of that stuff. He was very, very Mr. Normal. I told him, we have you on a warrant. I said, I'll see you in Brooklyn. He smiled.
He had pledged to the judge that he was going to open a small business.
What actually occurred was he traveled back into Asia, re-established all his connections there.
This was Tichy Lap 2.0.
To produce a kilo of heroin, you need literally a valley full of opium poppy and 1,000 farmers. You don't need any of that with synthetic drugs. You simply need the chemicals, the expertise, and the facility.
Che realized that the market had changed, and so he pivoted from heroin to meth. That move is what allowed his syndicate to rise to the top and make tons of money.
When you buy a kilo of methamphetamine in the Golden Triangle for $2,000, and you can turn around and sell it for 200,000 US, 400,000 US, those profits can't be matched anywhere in the world.
He was able to allow them to participate in the upside, to get as much ROI or return on investment as possible, while capping and minimizing the downside risk.
I've never seen a drug trafficking organization with so many tentacles in so many different countries.
He looked at the landscape of the region and used the different elements of it to his advantage, which allowed them to move the business forward in a way that others hadn't been before. Tichy Lap pieced together the region like a risk board and fundamentally pushed the drug trade to the limits. It's Breaking Bad on steroids is what it is, frankly. What you have is money being made along that chain to the tune of $60 billion.
Taiwanese subject that was of interest to police in Myanmar was intercepted at Yangon Airport.
One of the Myanmar police surveillance officers recognised him acting nervously and suspiciously coming through the airport.
He was discovered to have ketamine strapped to his legs. Very careless, because upon his arrest and interrogation, police seized a telephone. On that telephone was a treasure trove of information.
In 2019, in a collaborative effort, raids were conducted on a compound in northern Thailand. The premises was like a castle in the jungle with a moat. There was a testing lab identified within that structure.
ผลการบัตรก็ได้ทำการตรวจยึดทรัพย์สินก็ประกอบไปด้วยรถยนต์นะครับที่ดินนะฮะแล้วก็สิ่งปลูกสร้างรวมทั้งได้ยึดอายัดบัญชีทรัพย์สินอื่นๆเนี่ยรวมแล้วประมาณเกือบ100 ล้านบาทครับทางการได้ทำการตรวจยึดยาไอซ์ประมาณ 1.7 ตัน
The fact that he was then exposed internationally, a lot of other high-level traffickers and organised crime groups start to fall away. As a result of that, an Interpol Red Notice was also requested and granted. And on that basis, Chair became a wanted man. This was the movements of a desperate man who couldn't go anywhere else. He has effectively transited through Schiphol Airport, where he triggered the Interpol Red Notice, and the Dutch National Police acted on it.
Telephones.